You won't believe this is Singapore. Behind the image of a clean, wealthy, and ultra-modern nation lies a maze of strange everyday habits that only locals truly understand. In this video, we step away from the glossy shopping districts to explore 15 hidden, fascinating corners where Singapore reveals itself not just as a travel destination, but as a secret world running beneath a perfect surface. Number 1. Singlish. A blended local language, Singlish is not just English. It is a highly localized form of language that Singaporeans use in everyday communication to express familiarity, local rhythm, and multicultural identity. For many Singaporeans, Singlish is not simply a way of speaking, but a marker of national identity, reflecting the blending of English with Chinese dialects, Malay, and Tamil. Certain Singlish particles such as la, le, or lor may sound strange to foreigners, but for locals, they are an essential part of daily language. Singlish is commonly heard in markets, bus stops, and casual conversations, where people feel relaxed and informal. At the same time, Singlish exists alongside Standard English, which is used in schools, workplaces, and government settings, creating a two-layer linguistic rhythm within Singaporean society. For Singaporeans who grow up surrounded by multiple languages, using Singlish is a way to connect through shared sounds, emotions, and local identity. For visitors, hearing Singlish for the first time may feel unusual, but it offers a direct glimpse into the everyday communication culture of this multicultural island nation. What makes Singlish unique is not vocabulary, but tone and emotional nuance. A sentence can feel warmer, more humorous, or more empathetic simply by adding a particle at the end. This emotional layer is something Standard English often struggles to convey in daily interactions. In many situations, Singlish also functions as a social buffer, helping people reduce tension, avoid direct confrontation, and maintain harmony. Using Singlish is therefore not only a linguistic habit, but part of how Singaporeans manage social relationships. Singlish has also been controversial, especially during campaigns encouraging the use of Standard English for global competitiveness. Over time, however, society has come to accept that Singlish and Standard English serve different purposes and can coexist. From a cultural perspective, Singlish shows how Singapore balances globalization with localization. It is a modern, English-speaking nation that still maintains a distinctly local voice in everyday life. Number 2. Cashless technology and a hyper-connected lifestyle. Singapore is one of the world's leading countries in building a cashless ecosystem. Here, physical cash is gradually disappearing from daily transactions. From grocery shopping and buying coffee to paying for bus rides, most Singaporeans use e-wallets, smart cards, or phone-based payment systems. What feels unusual is not only how few people carry cash, but how even seniors and school kids are already comfortable scanning codes and paying in seconds as part of everyday routine. For locals, cashless payment is not just a tech trend. It reflects the pace of the digital era, where saving time and maximizing efficiency sit at the top of the priority list. The Singaporean government has invested heavily in electronic payment infrastructure, making sure nearly every corner of society is online ready. This helps reduce theft and fraud and increases transparency across transactions, from small vendors to large businesses. For international visitors, experiencing a largely cashless lifestyle in Singapore can feel strange at first, especially if they come from countries where cash is still the norm. But this is genuinely part of the island nation's postmodern identity, where value and daily convenience move deeper into digital space. What's striking is that Singapore's cashless habits are not limited to malls or high-end districts. Even small stalls, neighborhood shops, and family-run cafes often treat digital payment as the default standard. This level of adoption also reflects a strong public trust in systems and data security. People are comfortable linking their financial activity to a phone or personal card, instead of relying on physical bills in a wallet. In daily life, this convenience keeps the city running smoothly. It reduces waiting time and prevents unnecessary friction. A transaction can take just a few seconds, which helps crowds keep moving in a dense urban environment. From a cultural angle, a cashless society shows Singapore's preference for discipline, efficiency, and coordination. Technology here is not merely a tool. It becomes the base layer for how people interact in modern life. Number 3. Hawker culture, a shared community dining life. Singapore is world famous for its hawker culture, open-air food centers where people meet, talk, and eat together. But the deeper uniqueness lies in how these places preserve community spirit through everyday routines. A hawker center is not just a spot for cheap meals. It functions as a social platform where multiple generations gather morning, noon, and night to share stories, exchange news, and stay connected. Singapore's hawker system is often treated like a piece of intangible cultural heritage, and the government has worked to have it recognized and protected, especially as urban development threatens traditional ways of life. Hawker food is not only diverse in origin, Chinese, Malay, Indian, but each dish often carries a family story, inherited recipes, and the long-term dedication of vendors who have been serving the same community for years. For Singaporeans, hawkers are where they feel the breath of daily life, from casual meals to everyday social habits. For visitors, stepping into a hawker center can be a genuinely cultural experience, not only because the food is great, but because it reveals how locals connect through daily meals. What makes hawker centers different from many food courts elsewhere is how equal the space feels. Workers, office staff, students, and seniors sit at the same tables, without obvious social separation. Many hawker stalls are run by families for decades. A dish becomes part of local memory. People return not only for flavor, but for familiarity. The same vendor, the same rhythm, the same routine. In a fast-moving city, hawker centers act like cultural anchors. They hold on to slower, human-scale habits in the middle of a highly efficient urban system. On a broader level, hawker culture shows how Singapore preserves everyday identity, not through museums or grand stages, but through simple meals repeated daily. Number 4. Traditional performance arts. Dikir Barat is a form of community-based musical performance rooted in Malay culture, but Singapore has adapted it to fit its multicultural context. It is not simply music or dance. It is a collective chanting performance, where groups talk through rhythm, lyrics, and real-time responses on the spot. In Singapore, Dikir Barat is seen as a tool for education, community bonding, and preserving Malay identity in a multi-ethnic society. It often appears at community events, traditional festivals, and school performances. It entertains, but it also reinforces cultural awareness. For younger Singaporeans, joining Dikir Barat can be a way to learn about Malay history, tradition, and artistic roots, even if they are not Malay themselves. The fact that Dikir Barat continues to exist and grow in Singapore highlights the importance of preserving traditional arts in a society that modernizes rapidly. And for many international visitors, seeing it for the first time feels both unusual and memorable. One key feature of Dikir Barat is its group interaction. The boundary between performers and audience is not rigid. Clapping, rhythm, and community response become part of the performance itself. In education settings, Dikir Barat works as a hands-on cultural tool. Students absorb tradition through participation, not just theory. Keeping Dikir Barat alive inside a modern city shows that Singapore does not treat traditional arts as static heritage. It treats them as living practices that can adapt to the present. Culturally, Dikir Barat also represents how a minority community maintains its voice within a multicultural nation, while sharing that identity with the wider society through performance. Number 5. The Chingay Festival, a tapestry of multicultural expression. The Chingay Festival in Singapore is one of the biggest street events of the year, usually held around Lunar New Year. However, unlike festivals that are purely religious, Singapore's Chingay is a multicultural parade where Chinese, Malay, Indian, and many other communities participate together. Originally rooted in Chinese religious processions, Chingay has evolved over time into a public festival with a strong focus on performance. It features music, lion dances, costumes, and large-scale street displays. Singapore has also worked to have this festival recognized as UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage, highlighting cultural exchange and celebrating diversity. Singaporeans see Chingay as a symbol of unity and multi-ethnic identity, a shared space where different communities celebrate together. It is not only a spectacular show, but also a representation of mutual understanding within a modern society. The biggest difference between Chingay in Singapore and many traditional Asian festivals is how it has been de-religionized into a whole society event. Religious elements remain as symbols, but the core shifts toward performance and multicultural participation. Parade teams are often prepared months in advance, involving schools, social organizations, and local community groups. This makes Chingay not just something to watch, but a long process of cultural collaboration. For younger generations, Chingay works like a live cultural classroom, where they experience other communities' traditions through sound, movement, and street atmosphere rather than textbooks. On a national level, Chingay helps Singapore tell its story to the world. A small country shaping identity through diversity, coordination, and shared celebration. Number 6. Chope culture. Reserving seats with tissue packets. In Singapore's urban daily life, one habit often feels strange to visitors but completely normal to locals. Chope culture. The practice of reserving seats at hawker centers using simple items like a packet of tissue paper, an empty water bottle, or even an employee card. For Singaporeans, placing a small object on a table is not just a silent message saying, "This seat is taken," but a reflection of social order and mutual trust in public spaces. This habit comes from the fast-paced rhythm of busy food centers, where people often secure a seat before lining up to buy food. What is interesting is that very few people ever violate this seat reservation, even when it is marked by nothing more than a cheap tissue pack. For locals, respecting these small objects is an unspoken cultural agreement tied to community awareness and social discipline. However, not everyone views chope in the same way. Some younger Singaporeans see it as a symbol of an overly busy lifestyle, where everything needs to be optimized, even meals. Older generations, on the other hand, see chope as a convenient habit and a natural part of urban life. From a cultural perspective, chope culture shows that Singapore is not only modern, but also a place where social rules emerge from very small details. It is not a flashy custom, but a form of everyday cultural code that insiders immediately understand. What allows chope to exist sustainably is the high level of trust between individuals in public spaces. Leaving a small object assumes that others will respect it, even without supervision. This practice also reflects how Singaporeans prioritize order over confrontation. Instead of competing for seats, society agrees on a simple rule that everyone follows. For visitors, chope may feel confusing at first, but once understood, it becomes a clear example of how modern societies build trust through small, everyday behaviors. Number 7. HDB housing. Public spaces as an open home. More than 80% of Singapore's population lives in public housing estates known as HDB flats, planned and managed by the state. What makes this housing system unique is not only its simple design or affordability, but how Singaporeans turn these estates into open social spaces where the boundary between home and community becomes flexible. On the ground floor, open areas known as void decks are commonly used for weddings, funerals, resident meetings, and community activities. Singaporeans see these spaces as shared memory zones, where simple concrete structures become tied to major life moments. Life rituals, whether joyful or solemn, are woven directly into the residential environment. Within HDB estates, residents of different ethnic backgrounds live side by side, sharing elevators, drying areas, small parks, and long corridors that function as everyday social networks. Many seniors spend afternoons chatting under trees, while children play nearby, creating a distinctly Asian sense of community within a modern urban setting. For Singaporeans, HDB is not just housing. It represents the idea of urban equality, where middle-class and working-class families share the same spaces. From a social and cultural perspective, HDB estates act as living museums of everyday Singaporean life. What stands out is how private life and public space are tightly interwoven, creating higher levels of social interaction than many high-rise housing models elsewhere. Void decks are not just functional areas. They are places where communities collectively witness life's milestones, reinforcing a sense of belonging. In the long term, HDB housing functions as a social engineering tool, where housing policy supports stability, integration, and cohesion in a multi-ethnic society. Number 8. Kiasu. A fear of losing out in everyday life. In Singaporean culture, kiasu is a concept that carries both humor and social insight. Originating from the Hokkien language, kiasu means fear of losing out. Over time, it has become a mindset associated with competition, careful planning, and perfectionism in many areas of life. Kiasu behavior appears in small, everyday actions, lining up early, booking classes in advance, chasing discounts, or striving for high academic results. To outsiders, this may seem excessive, but for many Singaporeans, it is a survival strategy in a high-performance society. From a cultural angle, kiasu is not just an individual habit. It reflects the historical background of a small country with limited resources, where constant effort was necessary to maintain growth. Many Singaporeans joke about kiasu, yet still recognize it as a driving force behind success. Younger generations tend to view kiasu more flexibly, shifting from fear of losing to self-improvement. This mix of self-awareness and humor makes kiasu a unique cultural trait. Notably, kiasu extends beyond education and work into consumer habits and daily routines. People prepare ahead, calculate risks, and minimize uncertainty even in minor decisions. In competitive environments, kiasu offers a sense of control. It helps individuals feel they are not being left behind in a fast-moving system. At the same time, Singaporean society increasingly acknowledges the downsides, including stress and pressure. Open discussion around kiasu shows a society actively reflecting on itself. Culturally, kiasu mirrors how a small nation learns to compete, adapt, and survive in a global context. Number 9. Urban greenery and designed nature in the city. Singapore is often called a city in a garden, but what truly sets its green system apart is not the number of trees, but how nature is designed as part of urban thinking and cultural identity. Parks, rooftop gardens, shaded roads, and ecological corridors are planned so residents can encounter greenery within a dense city. For Singaporeans, green space is not decorative. It plays a role in mental balance. Small community gardens within HDB estates allow residents to grow vegetables and herbs while interacting with neighbors. Turning green infrastructure into cultural symbols shows how Singapore tells its national story through urban space. Trees are seen not only as aesthetics, but as evidence of long-term planning and discipline. Culturally, nature in Singapore is not wild. It is carefully maintained and intentionally designed, blending modern urban engineering with the human need for environmental connection. What stands out is how nature is integrated into everyday routines. Walking, waiting for buses, or exercising often happens alongside greenery. Green projects are tightly managed, reflecting the idea that the environment is essential infrastructure, not an afterthought. This supports high quality of life despite population density. From a cultural viewpoint, engineered nature reveals how Singapore redefines the human-nature relationship, not as opposition, but as coordination within a controlled system. This deliberate approach turns greenery into part of Singapore's story about responsibility, order, and long-term vision. Number 10. Stairwells and corridors. The backyard of apartment life. In many HDB estates, long corridors and staircases are more than passageways. They become semi-private living spaces. Residents dry clothes, place small altars, grow plants, or hang bird cages outside their doors. These small details create a personal map woven into shared space. For Singaporeans, corridors are not just public property. They carry emotional value, holding traces of family life over time. Small items like potted plants, stools, or doormats allow households to tell their own stories within communal space. Sociologically, this continues traditional Asian neighborhood life, adapted into high-rise housing. Despite regulations, residents still find ways to maintain personal identity. For visitors, HDB corridors may not look impressive, but they reveal the most authentic everyday details of Singapore, where simplicity and order coexist. What is notable is the flexible boundary between private and shared space. Corridors allow personal presence without disrupting overall order. These small arrangements help residents recognize one another, creating familiarity in dense living environments. Culturally, HDB corridors act as social buffer zones, enabling interaction at a comfortable distance, neither too intimate nor too distant. These invisible backyards quietly sustain community life in a modern city. In a high-density urban environment, such spaces play a crucial role in softening everyday life. They provide room for quiet personalization without turning private homes outward too aggressively. A corridor becomes a place where individuality is expressed subtly, without challenging collective rules or shared order. This balance reflects the broader social principle in Singapore. Personal expression is allowed, but it is carefully calibrated. The corridor does not become chaotic or fully privatized. Instead, it remains readable and predictable to others who pass through it every day. Over time, these shared corridors also function as memory spaces. Children grow up recognizing familiar doors, plants, and objects. Elderly residents associate certain corners with daily routines or casual conversations. Even without formal interaction, people become aware of one another's presence through these visual cues. Unlike private interiors, corridors remain visible and shared. This visibility encourages a form of passive social connection. People may not speak often, but they recognize neighbors, notice changes, and sense continuity. From an urban design perspective, these spaces show how community does not always rely on active interaction. Sometimes, coexistence is built through quiet acknowledgement rather than conversation. In modern cities where isolation is common, HDB corridors demonstrate an alternative model. They show how everyday architecture can support social life without forcing it. Rather than grand public squares or organized events, it is these modest, overlooked spaces that quietly carry the social fabric of Singapore forward, one doorway at a time. Number 11. Late-night food culture. Quiet rhythms after midnight. Although Singapore is known as a disciplined and efficient society, its nightlife follows a very different rhythm. In many neighborhoods, late-night eateries create pockets of activity where drivers, night shift workers, students, and small groups of friends gather after long workdays. For locals, eating late at night is not just about filling the stomach. It is a moment of release after a demanding day, when the city becomes quieter and conversations feel more open. Simple noodle stalls, porridge shops, bubble tea spots, or coffee stalls turn into familiar meeting points where everyday stories unfold across tables. From a cultural perspective, Singapore's nighttime rhythm is not loud or chaotic like many global cities. It is slower, more inward, and restrained. It reflects a society that values moderation, where people seek balance in small, controlled moments. For visitors, walking the streets after midnight in Singapore offers a unique feeling. A city that feels safe, calm, yet quietly alive. Notably, Singapore's late-night food culture is not centered around partying or entertainment. It focuses on mental rest and social decompression. Meals are usually simple, quick, and centered more on conversation than culinary spectacle. Many late-night eateries become anchors for people with off-hour schedules, forming small communities that operate parallel to daytime life. From a social standpoint, late-night dining shows how Singapore allows multiple life rhythms to coexist in the same urban space, as long as order and safety are maintained. This controlled quietness is what makes Singapore's nightlife distinctive. It is understated, but deeply characteristic. Number 12. Community rituals in multi-faith religious festivals. Singapore is home to many religions coexisting within a small urban space, including Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity. What stands out is not only the diversity, but how religious rituals are woven into public life. Processions, pilgrimages, and religious gatherings often take place directly on city streets alongside modern urban routines. People do not view religious diversity as a source of conflict, but as a social reality managed through shared norms. Those outside a particular faith may still assist, observe, or participate respectfully with cultural curiosity. At a deeper level, these rituals do more than express belief. They create a sense of community within a multi-ethnic society. Religious events become bridges linking ancestral traditions with contemporary urban life. In Singapore, religion does not remain confined to sacred spaces. It exists on sidewalks, streets, and residential areas, visible, accessible, yet regulated. What matters is how these rituals are organized within clear frameworks, allowing faith to occupy public space without disrupting city life. This balance reflects a governance philosophy rooted in coordination and mutual respect. For younger generations, growing up surrounded by visible religious practices fosters early understanding of diversity, making faith a familiar presence rather than something distant. Culturally, religious festivals in Singapore are not only expressions of belief, but social mechanisms that allow different communities to maintain presence and voice within the nation. Number 13. Gift-giving and subtle communication etiquette. Social interaction in Singapore follows many subtle and restrained rules influenced by broader Asian traditions. When giving gifts, people often avoid items associated with bad luck and may refrain from opening presents immediately in front of the giver as a gesture of politeness. For locals, these details are not empty formalities. They are ways of showing respect and preserving the other person's dignity. Communication culture becomes a tool for maintaining harmony in a multi-ethnic society. In a multicultural environment, Singaporeans learn to observe and adjust their behavior carefully to avoid cultural friction. This allows social relationships to function smoothly despite different backgrounds. From a cultural storytelling perspective, this is a layer of soft civilization that is rarely highlighted, yet it plays a crucial role in shaping modern Singaporean social identity. This subtlety is not taught through rigid rules, but learned through observation and experience. People develop a strong sense of reading the room. In professional and international settings, these communication norms help reduce misunderstandings when people from different value systems interact. Avoiding emotional display or placing others in uncomfortable situations reflects a high priority on collective harmony. At a deeper level, gift-giving and subtle communication show how Singapore manages society not only through laws, but through unspoken behavioral standards that quietly sustain social order. Number 14. Library culture and shared learning spaces. In Singapore, public libraries are more than book storage spaces. They function as open learning environments. People visit to read, study in groups, work quietly, or simply find a calm corner within a dense city. For Singaporeans, spending time in libraries is not driven by academic pressure, but by habits of self-learning and personal discipline. Many see libraries as part of civilized urban living. Library design emphasizes accessibility and inclusiveness, connecting children, seniors, and young adults within the same space. This creates intergenerational learning communities beyond formal classrooms. Culturally, libraries symbolize education, discipline, and intellectual curiosity, core values in Singaporean society. What stands out is how libraries function as multi-purpose spaces where learning, working, and mental rest blend seamlessly. Despite being busy, libraries remain orderly, reflecting high levels of shared responsibility rather than enforced silence. For children and teenagers, libraries introduce self-directed learning outside rigid curricula. From an urban perspective, libraries act as knowledge oases, offering structured calm within a fast-moving city. By integrating libraries into daily routines, Singapore keeps knowledge accessible, social, and deeply embedded in everyday life. Beyond their functional role, libraries also shape how people relate to public space. They encourage individuals to coexist quietly, sharing the same environment without constant interaction. This form of low-intensity social presence helps reduce isolation while respecting personal boundaries. In a high-density city, such environments provide mental breathing room. Libraries absorb the pressure of urban speed and convert it into focus and calm. People come not only to consume information, but to regulate their attention and pace. Libraries also reinforce equality of access. Regardless of income or background, anyone can occupy the same desks, shelves, and study rooms. Knowledge is presented not as privilege, but as a shared civic resource. Architecturally, the openness of libraries reflects transparency and trust. Glass walls, open seating, and flexible layouts signal that learning is meant to be visible and communal, not hidden or exclusive. Over time, libraries become personal landmarks. Students associate them with growth, seniors with routine, and professionals with quiet productivity. These overlapping uses turn libraries into living infrastructure rather than static institutions. In this sense, Singapore's libraries are not merely educational facilities. They are social stabilizers, quietly reinforcing values of discipline, inclusiveness, and lifelong learning through everyday use. Bow. Number 15. Queuing culture. Discipline in the smallest details. Queuing in Singapore is more than a habit. It reflects collective awareness and social discipline. People patiently wait their turn at bus stops, supermarkets, and service counters, not out of fear of punishment, but because they understand that order keeps society running smoothly. Singaporeans often joke that if there is a long line, it probably means something is worth waiting for. Beneath that humor lies a shared sense of fairness, where everyone respects others' time and space. Culturally, queuing is part of a silent social language, allowing interaction without words. It expresses trust in systems and in the community. For visitors, this creates a striking experience, a society shaped by small principles with large impact. Notably, queuing behavior remains consistent even without supervision. People follow order even when no staff or signs are present. Queuing reduces conflict, eliminates competition for resources, and creates safety in public spaces. Children learn this behavior early through observation, not moral lectures. Sociologically, queuing reflects confidence that systems will operate fairly and that everyone will get their turn. Through such small practices, Singapore maintains stability without constant enforcement. At a deeper level, queuing trains people to think beyond immediate self-interest. Waiting becomes a shared agreement rather than an inconvenience. Each individual temporarily restrains themselves so that the system can function smoothly for all. This behavior also minimizes friction in crowded environments. When movement and access are predictable, anxiety decreases. People do not need to negotiate verbally or assert dominance to secure their place. Queuing also distributes responsibility across society. Order is not imposed from above, but maintained collectively. This reduces the need for constant monitoring and allows public spaces to feel calmer and safer. For newcomers and visitors, queuing serves as an unspoken lesson in local values. Without explanation, one quickly understands expectations through observation alone. Over time, this habit reinforces trust. When people see that rules are followed even when no one is watching, confidence in the social system grows. Importantly, queuing does not erase individuality. It simply organizes interaction so that personal freedom does not disrupt collective flow. In Singapore's dense urban context, such discipline becomes invisible infrastructure. Like roads or signals, it supports daily life without drawing attention to itself. Through the repetition of these small, ordinary acts, social order becomes internalized. Stability is not enforced through pressure, but sustained through shared understanding and everyday practice. And that brings our journey through Singapore's hidden everyday world to a close. Maybe the most fascinating part of this country isn't its skyscrapers or economic success, but the tiny details that shape its soul, the way people speak, eat, live, and quietly follow unwritten social rules. If Singapore now feels different from what you once imagined, then this exploration has done its job. Thanks so much for watching until the very end. If you'd like to keep discovering more strange and captivating stories from around the world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next episode. See you again on our next journey.